Sorg, a young writer of 30 years old, lives in a small village of beach houses on the French Mediterranean coast. He works part-time as a laborer and spends his days in a modest rented beach hut. One day he meets Betty, a 19-year-old girl with a bright and impulsive nature. They quickly develop a close relationship and begin to live together in his hut. First, their life together is calm, but Betty periodically experiences severe mood swings. One day, after a conflict with Sorg, she destroys part of the interior of the hut and then finds the manuscript of his first novel. Betty reads it in its entirety at one time and comes to the conclusion that Sorg is a talented writer. Despite this, after another quarrel with his boss, she burns down the hut. After devastating events, they decide to move to Paris. There, they rent a room in a small hotel, which belongs to Betty's friend named Lisa. Betty carefully typesets Sorg's manuscript and sends it to local publishers. During this time, they meet Lisa's new boyfriend, Eddie, and spend time together participating in various activities and drinking from time to time. Sorg and Betty find work at a pizzeria owned by Eddie. During one of the tense moments, Betty reacts sharply to the client's demands, and Sorg tries to calm her down and return her to normal. Although Sorg hides rejection letters from publishers, Betty finds one and goes to the publisher to discuss the manuscript. Subsequently, Sorg convinces the publisher to drop the charges by showing Betty's value in his life. At this time, Eddie's mother dies, and a group of friends goes to the funeral in Marvels. After this, Eddie invites Sorg and Betty to live in his deceased relative's house and manage her piano store. Life in the province passes quietly. Sorg meets local residents, including the grocer Bob and his wife Annie, communicates with them, leads a routine life, writes a novel, and helps Betty with her interests. However, Betty's mood swings continue to bother Sorg. One evening, after a random comment from Sorg, Betty injures herself by walking through glass, after which they rush to medical help. In hope for the future, they take a pregnancy test, but it turns out negative and Betty becomes depressed. She informs Sorg about the strange sensations and auditory experiences that bother her. Sorg, in an attempt to improve their financial situation, organizes a risky operation to get money, but Betty does not react to this. She commits another violation of the law by luring a child into a toy store, and Sorg rushes to save the situation with her, ensuring the child's safety. One day, Sorg returns home and discovers that Betty has disappeared. Bob tells him that she is in the hospital after a serious incident. Sorg rushes there and sees Betty under the influence of strong sedatives. He is advised to return the next day. At this time, Sorg receives a call from a publisher who agrees to publish his manuscript. Arriving at the hospital, he discovers that Betty is depressed and needs long-term treatment. The doctor explains that her recovery may be lengthy and incomplete. Sorg tries to intervene, but his actions lead to conflict with the medical staff. He is forcibly removed from the hospital after a bitter struggle with 3 orderlies. Returning in disguise that night, he whispers goodbye and smothers Betty with a pillow. At home, he sits down to continue his current romance, talking to his foster cat, hearing Betty's disembodied voice, symbolically maintaining her presence in his life.